What's up, YouTube? Jeff back again today with a very exciting Samsung video for you guys. And today we're talking about some big changes in the world of Samsung digital assistant apps. Of course, you all know if you have an S25 device, the Gemini is now the main default assistant. Instead of Google Assistant out of the box, you long press the button. Bixby is no longer there as well. Gemini is what you have. But there are some changes coming across all devices now where Google is migrating Google Assistant to Gemini everywhere. Basically, Google Assistant is now being banished, buried in the Google graveyard, as they like to bury various apps and services they release. And in addition to that, if you don't like Google Assistant / Gemini or Bixby, you also now have the option to set ChatGPT as the default assistant on your Galaxy smartphone. And so we're going to take a look at how you can do that as well in this video. Remind you guys, make sure you check out the website, sammyguru.com, latest Samsung news, tips, tricks, tutorials, and reviews. We're going to be talking about a couple articles that we already wrote up here on these topics. We usually are able to cover things a lot faster in written form, and then I usually make more in-depth videos later. But definitely bookmark the site so you can stay up to date on that. Sammy Guru Rewards is also opening soon. The free tier sign-up will be available. Daily premium wallpapers, discounts on Samsung devices, free accessories, and more for Galaxy fans. So let's talk about the first point. Google Assistant's being discontinued on Galaxy phones. Google announced they're getting rid of Google Assistant everywhere. Gemini will replace it. That's already happened on the S25 series. Google Assistant, though, still does live on the S25 series, because if you go into Gemini settings on your S25 device, if you go into settings here, you can actually find, Google Assistant features in Gemini, and you can see that you can still change from Gemini back to Google Assistant inside the Gemini settings. So you can revert your digital assistant from Google back to Google Assistant if you wanted to do that. I don't know why you would, because Gemini is just better. But what makes it even more confusing, though, is right now, Google Assistant and Gemini are actually not separate. They're actually not separate at all. And that's, I guess, what Google is saying is they're going to combine them. Because if you look in Gemini, it says Google Assistant features in Gemini access features powered by Google Assistant when you use your voice. And there's all these things like the hands-free, trigger with the voice, personal results, home control, all your lights, your Nest, broadcast, family groups, app info, and routines. All this stuff is, a lot of it's still baked into Assistant. So when you ask Gemini to do something, it has to say, okay, I'm contacting Google Assistant to do this, which is very weird. So I assume what Google's saying is, not only are they going to remove the ability for you to use Assistant, they're going to streamline all of this so Gemini never references, Assistant at all like it does here, and you won't have to turn this on or off. You'll just be able to turn on or off the various Gemini extensions, which of course, as you know, all those extensions you can also find inside your lock screen settings, inside your Gemini settings, and you can enable all those Gemini extensions and decide if you're going to utilize those Gemini extensions. For instance, the Notes extension and all those other ones that Samsung added on to Gemini with the Galaxy S25 series. So that's the first thing. Gemini is basically replacing Google Assistant everywhere. And of course, as you guys know, if you go to the side button settings here on the S25 series, you can see here when you go to long press, you've got either Digital Assistant for Google, and if you click here, there is no choice between Google and Gemini here. You just have to change that in the Gemini settings. So Samsung doesn't make it obvious, but you can switch back to Bixby if you want. But you guys probably noticed here another option that I have, which is ChatGPT. You now have the ability, starting with the current beta version of ChatGPT app, to set ChatGPT as your default assistant. Now to get this, you are going to have to join the ChatGPT beta. So you guys can go here and I'll show you really quickly how to do it. If you don't know, you can go to the Play Store, scroll down, you can join the beta right here. You can see I am a beta tester. And this version of the beta that has this capability, let's see what version that is. The version is 1.2025.077. This brings the ability to set this as the default assistant, not only from within there, but you can also go into your default apps, go in here, and then go in default assistant. You see it's set to Google right now, and you can also change it from there to ChatGPT. The interesting thing is, as I said before, Bixby can't even be set here anymore. So it's kind of crazy that now ChatGPT can live alongside Google, which eventually I'm sure this will just say Gemini. It's all kind of confusing, right? You've got Google, Google Assistant, and Gemini if you're an average user and not an enthusiast who kind of reads about this or writes about it and makes videos like I do every day, you'd be confused. You're like, what's the difference between Google Assistant, and Gemini? The reason it says Google here, right, is because this is the app that controls the assistant, and it pulls Gemini as the actual kind of voice and assistant and everything that's doing the behind the scenes computations instead of Google Assistant by default. So essentially, you have three choices right now. You could use Google Assistant, Gemini, or ChatGPT. Can't use Bixby as the default digital assistant out of the box, even though the interesting thing is you can change, right? You can't change it here if you go into default digital assistant, but if you go into side button settings, you can change the long press to Bixby. But eventually you're only gonna have essentially two choices, it looks like, for your digital assistant. It's either gonna be Gemini, or right now it looks like ChatGPT might also be an option if you prefer to use ChatGPT. Now I'm probably gonna make another full video talking about ChatGPT and what it can do as your digital assistant versus Gemini. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. I just wanted to show you guys these updates, particularly about Google Assistant going to the graveyard, and then this beta update that enables ChatGPT. Once that rolls out and stable, I'll probably make that video. Let me know what you'd like to see for comparisons there. Anyway, make sure you check out the website, samiguru.com, latest Samsung news, tips, tricks, tutorials, and reviews. Any questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the comment section below. I'll be happy to get back to you guys. And also, Samiguru Rewards opening soon. Make sure you guys sign up. Of course, I'll let you know when the landing page is active. And of course, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.